Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Let's move on. I've just got a quick update from the Smart Journey. So tonight I'll be just touching on the residential travel survey results, which we had in March, the Dr. Bike and Cycle trainings, the discounts and the e-bikes hire. So as you all know, we had the residential travel survey earlier in March, and these are just some of the key findings from the survey. We had a response rate of 24%, and majority of these responses came in the first week when the survey went live. The second week we were in lockdown, hence the reason why the response rate is not as high as last year, which this totals up to about 363 people in the household, and of this we had 30% which were under 4s and 27% were children at the age of 4 to 11. As you can see here in the table, car ownership, as you can see this year there's been a small decrease in the number of people owning, household owning one car. So this year we had 45%, whereas last year we had 54% of the household owning just one car. To car ownership, there's been a small increase there. 49% of the household indicated that they've got two cars in their household. And it's also important to note in terms of the bicycles, we've got 82% of the household who indicated that there is 1 or 5+ bikes in their homes. Some of the initiatives which we've been running at Northstowe, we asked whether they were aware of the travel benefits. 78% claimed that they were aware of the travel benefits which the Northstowe residents were entitled to, while 22% indicated no. And I guess at the time, because there was a pause in the travel benefits, it could have been why. There was a pause between early January until about August. However, now anyone who's recently moved into the area could claim this, and Kate will expand a bit further in the this evening where we are with the Northstowe ICANN study. It's also interesting to note that the Dr. Bike sessions, which we've been running at Northstowe for almost 2 years, that 22% of the households indicated that they were aware of the Dr. Bike sessions, while 78% indicated that they weren't. So we need to be doing more marketing in that area. 54% also commented on the bus fares and the services, and I've invited Gary from Stagecoach to give us an update on where we are with the bus services on the busway regarding that. Just moving on. So these are just a quick summary of the results in terms of the modes. So as you can see here, the drive loan figure, there's been an increase in the drive loan figure during the survey week. We saw 56% of the household using just their cars, so driving alone. There's been a steep decrease in cyclings. We've gone from 14%, which was last year, to 3% this year. And the use of guided busway has also decreased from 23% to 15%. As you can see that no one indicated that they were using trains. However, Alan Neville from Greater Anglia will provide us with an update on where we are with the train services from Cambridge North and Cambridge Main. Also, during the travel survey, we ran a prize draw, and that went out to David Jonestown, who won a £100 John Lewis voucher. Moving on. You would have seen this flyer last month on your bike. This is just a Dr. Bike service that which we're providing here at Northstowe. So last month, September, we ran 3 Dr. Bike sessions on the greens. There's still a bit of backlog, and this month, October, 2 sessions are being proposed. So one's going to be on the 25th and the other one's on the 1st of November. So these will be held on the green. Going forward, it'll be held every third Sunday from 9 till 5 from the Northstowe Cycle Hub, and the service will be provided by Richard Miller. And in autumn and in winter, we'll be using the Cycle Hub. Come spring and summer, we will have it on the greens. And these booking slots will be open first week of each month. And this will be half an hour slots. And at the moment, what we're doing is giving priority to those household who's got like bikes at a fair conditions, so that these bikes are not being stored, and these cyclists are actually cycling to wherever as part of their daily activity, being active. Moving on, there's also cycle trainings. If you are not aware of that, hourly slots are available for October, November and December. These are only a couple of slots. If there's a demand for more cycle trainings needed at Northstowe, please let me know, and we can schedule more dates as well as more times. Northstowe residents are also entitled to cycle discounts. So we've secured 11% discounts on e-bikes and e-cargo bikes with the electric bike sales. This is shop on Newmarket Road. And if you do purchase anything from Decathlon, if a bike is worth £100 or more, you are also entitled to a 10% gift card. And you are also entitled to 50% on the Cycle Workshop. This service is only available in store. In order to be entitled to these discounts, you would need to show your recent utility bill when you do the payment at the checkout. As I mentioned earlier, the Northstowe Cycle Hub, this is where this is what it looks like. And for those of you who don't know where it is, it's at the rear Long Stanton Park and Ride. So going forward, the vision that I had was to utilise this hub for providing the e-bike service, as well as the doctor bike sessions, especially in the autumn and winter months. E-bike services. Coming very soon, hopefully this month, we will be launching the e-bike service with CET and BizBike. There will be 10 e-bikes located at the Northstowe Cycle Hub. Another 10 bikes will be outside, adjacent to the Pathfinder Primary School, and that bike shelter will be installed week commencing the 19th of October. And the plan there is to have another 10 more bikes there. There will be facilities for families with young kids. So there'll be 5 child seats as well as 3 kiddie bike trailers. At the moment, we're just finalising a booking app. So hopefully, we're hoping, fingers crossed, that we will be ready to launch come mid-October. It's going to be there's going to be a small fare, small rates for the Northstowe residents. So, for example, if you want to hire a bike for an hour, you're looking at something like 50p for an hour. If anyone is interested in some of the services initiatives which I've mentioned earlier, please do email us at northstowe@smartjourneys.co.uk. Thank you.
Thanks, Prajina. We've just got a couple of questions from the community. So Farouz Thompson says, Dr. Bike sessions, could they be led by a local bike business in Northstowe rather than outspoken?
Yeah. So just, expanding on that, like I said before, so October, I'm dealing with the backlog, and come November, I mentioned Richard Miller. So I am using the local supplier. So yeah, come November, I've already had a conversation with Richard and he's on board. So I'm glad Feroz has mentioned that. Yeah, so we are using Richard Miller from November onwards.
Okay, great. And Hilary Shroud had a question. Could we just confirm what's available to Long Stanton residents? Obviously, this is being provided for Northstowe, but it's not just only for the e-bikes on this. Sorry, this was on.
Yeah, so that Sean will have to get back to me on that one. I don't really know about the Long Stanton.
Okay, and do e-bikes have to be pre-booked on the app?
No, so if you wish to use it half an hour, you just set your time. So you just book it as and when you need it. So you don't have to book it night before.
Okay. And then Farouz has another question. Why do you think there's such a sharp drop in the figures for cycling?
I am hoping that that particular week the weather was horrible.
Okay. Thank you. And if you could just flip the slide up one, because Kathy would like to see the email address for your contact details.
Okay.
So we've had various comments about kind of dangerous cycling and parking on cycle paths, etc. We're going to cover that in the L&Q section, if that's okay, because it's not strictly something with county yet, because they haven't formally adopted the roads yet.
Perfect.
Okay, Regina, that's it for questions on.
Thank you.
Your section for now. Do you want to? Are you introducing Gary? Sorry.
Yep. Now I will just pass it on to Gary.
That's it. Can you hear me? Hopefully you can. Good evening. Gary Nicholas from Stagecoach. I haven't got a presentation, so you won't be seeing wonderful presentations like you will from other people today. But I just wanted to respond on the questions that have come in and the comments that have come in about the busway. They primarily fall into two camps. One is price, one is ability to get on the vehicles. So I'm going to deal with the second one first, which is ability to get onto the vehicles. Now, in September, last summer, we were planning to increase the busway, but of course it was closed because of the A14 works, so it wasn't the right time to introduce the enhancements because of the extra time it was taking. We then planned to do it in November because we were told it'd be open in November, and it wasn't, and it was delayed, and we had confirmation we'd be able to have the busway back in time to launch the big new service at the end of March this year. Having invested just over £5 million in new vehicles, some of which are the largest vehicles operating in England at the moment, service buses, we were ready to go. Everything was ready. We held some open days in Cambridge and around the area so that people could see what we were planning to provide capacity to get people into Cambridge. Unfortunately, of course, the pandemic arrived and meant that we were no longer able to introduce it. Demand for the busway during the height of the pandemic fell to about 10% of its normal requirement. Currently, we're running at just under 40% of previous patronage this time last year using the busway at the moment. However, we have, in August, we simplified the busway so that one of the main reasons for it would be as demand returned, it would make it easier for us to add more services and provide more capacity for people to come down the busway into the city in the morning. The point about making it easier to respond to changing demand, on the 1st of November, we haven't gone public with this yet, so this will be the first time that we will be airing what we're doing in public. From the 1st of November, we will be increasing the frequency. Routes A and Route B will both be single deck operated and will both be heading to Trumpington. They will be operating past Longstanton every 10 minutes. Obviously, Route A is currently diverted to serve CRC and Science Park because of the Histon Road southbound closure, but that does allow a bus every 10 minutes from St Ives into CRC for students and Science Park when businesses return. But in addition to that, a new Route C is going to operate. What we've been doing since August and since the education system rebooted and students started travelling with us again was we had a number of buses every day that was sitting in St Ives ready, that as buses came through full or as drivers further down the track were reporting to the controllers in St Ives that there was a problem, these spare buses were being dispatched. So from 1st of November, there will be an entirely new timetable with a new Route C that is going to start in St Ives with the very large double-deck buses with 100 seats. Obviously, we can't use them all, but they are 100-seat vehicles that will operate down the track, all the stops, CRC, Science Park, turn right onto Milton Road and terminate at the railway station, allowing passengers to travel across the city. days when Long Road Sixth Form College is open, the majority of the journeys will be extended on to Long Road Sixth Form College so students can travel directly. This also means that we'll be increasing the frequency from the city to Addenbrooke's to every 10 minutes. There will be later buses coming back from, more frequent buses coming back from the city to Long Stanton in the evening. They'll be coming back every 20 minutes as opposed to the half hourly that they are at the moment. Saturdays will be running every 10 minutes, not every 15 as it is at the moment. And Sundays currently are every half an hour. They will be increasing to every 15 minutes, running up to, or the last bus will be back just leaving the city just before 8 o'clock in the evening, as opposed to the 5:30 it is at the moment. So we believe that these combination of additional journeys, new service pattern, with new Route C being introduced, will allow more people to travel whilst maintaining social distancing as much as possible. Doesn't mean that this is it and we're going to stop watching it. Obviously, when we need to do more, we will do more. But a bus coming down every 5 minutes will be significantly more capacity than there is currently. Obviously, demand is still significantly suppressed because people's requirements travelling to their offices has disappeared. So that hopefully will cover the majority of the points regarding the capacity and the frequency and the length of operational day that I read through the questions that have been raised. Coming on to the issue of fares, we were looking at our fares. The big problem for Long Stanton stop on the busway is that it is just outside the Mega Rider zone and it becomes the Mega Rider Plus zone, so the day ticket rises from £4.50 to £7. We were looking at our network of tickets, from single fares through returns, through day tickets, period tickets, area tickets. The whole range was being investigated, reviewed and understood. I'm not sure if you are aware or not, but currently, as I said, we're currently running on the busway at around 40%. As a business, we're only running at about between 40 and 50% of patronage returning. We are in receipt of a grant from the government that is allowing us to effectively keep the lights on and enable people who need to travel around the country, because it's a national grant, doing so. Unfortunately, one condition of that grant is that we are not allowed to alter our fare structures, alter our fare levels, and that's very clearly mandated by Her Majesty's government as a condition of us receiving this grant to allow us to keep operating. So whilst we can do nothing immediately, we are now looking at our ticketing options. We are looking to use technology far more than we ever thought we could do, in terms of, I know I spend enough time watching buses in the morning peaks, and we've done some data analysis about how long our buses are sat at bus stops on Monday mornings issuing weekly tickets to people. So we can use technology to take that delay away, make it easier for travel. There are a number of things, a number of avenues that we're pursuing to make travelling by bus easier, and actually you don't need to make the commitment to travel to receive what are effectively loyalty discounts. So all of this is being worked on in the background, that hopefully as soon as the government, as soon as we're in a position to stand on our own 2 feet and we're not reliant on government grants to continue, we will be in a position to introduce new fares. I wouldn't want to say now what those changes are going to be, because there are so many twists and turns that will take place between now and then. But it would be wrong of me to commit to something totally now, because we could be talking anything up to 6, 9, 12 months away before we're in a position to make those changes. But the comments about the price increase from one stop to the next is absolutely understood, and it is something that will be on the list to resolve. Hopefully I've covered the majority of the points within the questions that I've been sent.
Gary, I think there's a generic point around the affordability generally of the busway service, which has always been one of the things that that Stagecoach have had feedback on. So could you just cover off that as well, please?
Okay, yeah, I can do. So the reason that the fares are higher on the busway than they are elsewhere in Cambridge is because we have to pay a six-figure sum every year to use the busway. It's that simple. And it's not just 100,000; it's multiple hundreds of thousands of pounds a year we have to pay to the local authority to use the busway, and it is that cost that increases the cost of operation that has to be reflected in the fares to operate the service.
Thank you. So there's a comment. A question. When is the busway directly to the school? I think that's Owen, your question on the busway will pick up in another section later on, because that's a phase 2 question. Hillary's asked a question. Northstowe and Longstanton Park and Ride is a massive customer base for Stagecoach, so this should be reflected in the rates. We need good prices for hop on and hop off, and not just price reductions for season tickets.
So the plan that is forming is based around giving people cheaper fares if they only want to go a couple of stops, and then rewarding the discount behind. Even if the world returns to normal tomorrow, it's my opinion that people aren't going to be travelling to work 5 days a week. So therefore, the value of a weekly ticket is diminished, and we need to find better ways to reward people when they travel, rather than asking people to commit to travel with us 5 days a week to receive the discount.
Okay. And there's a question on, so Firuza's asked, why do Stagecoach only have a monopoly on the busway? Obviously, we did actually have another bus operator, Go Whippet, who ceased to run services on the busway. So it's not necessarily that Stagecoach are given a monopoly, that is just the situation.
No. Yeah, there is no, the fact that there's only one operator in there is not because we have any form of control over it.
Okay. Thank you, Gary. That's the question so far. If I could just ask you to hang on for after Alan's section, if there are any more, we'll pick those up. But if we can go over to Alan from Greater Anglia to talk about train services.
Great. Thank you very much, everyone. It's good to talk to you tonight. It's great also to hear about the bus links to the railway stations, and it's fantastic to hear about the increase of cycling as well. I was a lap cyclist, and I discovered cycling again during lockdown, and it's been absolutely great. So I'm representing Greater Anglia tonight. I'm the Community and Customer Engagement Manager, and I've got no presentation, but just want to talk to you about a very few things. Obviously, it's been a very, very strange year. We're seeing passenger numbers recover, particularly on the leisure side. But obviously, it's going to be a slow process. We realise that, but obviously we want our customers back. We all believe that rail is the best form of travel, and obviously at the moment, people will be wary of travelling sometimes. I just want to assure everyone that we're doing amazing things in regards to the cleaning of trains in every respect. A lot of investment going into that. And we've had a lot of accolades for the cleaning and the clean trains that we have. So I wanted to reinforce that. In terms of the service we're operating at the moment, we're operating about 93% of our current service. And in actual fact, from Cambridge North and Cambridge, it's basically a full Saturdays accepted service. So at Cambridge North at the moment, during the main body of the day, there's a train to King's Lynn each hour, a train to Stansted Airport each hour, 2 trains to King's Cross each hour, 2 to Liverpool Street, 1 to Norwich and 1 to Ely. Greater Anglia operate the Liverpool Street services and also the Norwich and the Stansted service. So it's a very, very good train service from Cambridge North during both the peaks and the off peaks. As I say, we are running a full service from Cambridge North now. It was reduced in the first stages of lockdown, and then the full service was introduced way back in July. and GTR are running a full service as well. So obviously, as I say, we're seeing leisure travel becoming more popular again, which is fantastic. Obviously, the story on commuters is well documented. We expect that to be a slower process, but obviously we do want to see everyone back. We accept there will be an element of working from home and people looking for flexibility from tickets, and that's something we're working closely on at the moment with the Department for Transport. We should be very, very proud of the links between Northstowe and Cambridge North. I mean, 14 minutes by bus, absolutely fantastic. And I want you all to know that Pragina and I work very, very closely together on this. It's really, really great news that it's so linked up. So thank you very much for listening. I hope there's some questions for me.
Actually, Alan, not so far, but as you're aware, we're about 45 minutes behind on the Facebook Live because of the broadcast. So I will check back with you if there are additional ones. Otherwise, that's going to bring to close the travel plan section of this meeting. So okay, thank you very much.
I should have just pointed out is if there is any confusion. So Greater Anglia actually operates Cambridge North, but we work very, very closely with GTR because obviously some of the services are operated by GTR and some of the services are operated by Greater Anglia.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So my thanks to Pragina, to Gary and to Alan. I will let you pop off and I will let you know if there are further questions in the next minute, but otherwise you are free to go.